If you have ever spent a single penny on email verification, then I'm about to blow your mind with an insider secret that might just get me killed. I'm about to show you how to build an actual email verification system in less than 20 minutes. In fact, I built my very own email verification system using this exact process with no technical skills and less than 20 bucks. That's now literally, as we speak, verifying hundreds of thousands of emails for me for free. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, Jay, this is probably some BS or some AppSumo product that doesn't actually work. And normally you'd be right on any other channel, but not on this channel. Because today I'm gonna show you exactly how to do this, how I did it with zero technical skills and less than $20. And if you're new here, I'm Lead Gen Jay. I run the biggest online community for B2B lead generation, and my companies do about $12 million a year in revenue. All right, let's get into it. Let's show you the sauce. So there was really three things that I had to discover that was like, holy crap, this is possible, this is easy. The first being that there's actually an open source software, which means free. You can just download it and use it, that does email verification, a professional email verification tool you can just download and use. Sounds awesome, right? So that brings me to the first oh shit discovery, and that is this tool, Reacher.email. I don't have an affiliate link because it's free. You can just go download it and start using it. And the best part about Reacher is they've got a plan where you can actually verify 10,000 email verifications per day without ever paying them a single penny. Now, if you're familiar with N8N, you know that there's really two ways that you can do it. You can pay N8N for the cloud plan, which costs anywhere from like $50 a month to $5,000 a month because you're hosting it on their servers. Kind of same thing here. With this SaaS plan, you're using their email verification tool on their servers, which means you have to pay them money. We're not doing that. What this is self-hosted, just like the community self-hosted version of N8N. Now you can self-host your own email verification service, meaning you load this software up on your server, and now you can run unlimited email verifications because you're paying for those server costs, and it's basically unlimited and scalable and free up to 10,000 per day. And the reason for that limit is proxies, which we're going to get to soon. I'm gonna show you how to get around this problem. Now, once I discovered this, I was like, oh crap, I definitely need my own email verification tool, verification system. And I also happen to have a supercomputer in my living room that I basically turned into my N8N computer and runs all of my back-end applications. I'm like, oh my God, I can just install Reacher there, and now I have an unlimited email verification system. So just so you understand why this is free, compare it to N8N. You're installing this on your server, and that way you're going to have your own, essentially, installation of your email verification system. So we're gonna need Reacher. As you can see, I'm already on this plan. Now, you don't need this. You can self-host Reacher just like this, read how. And it's through Docker, kind of the same way that you install N8N. And I'm gonna give you an entire setup guide that I've prepared for you that you can just have. All you have to do is go down in the notes below this video, and you can go ahead and download that setup guide step by step. I'm not gonna get too technical in this video because I'm not a developer. I don't wanna talk about code. And based on how you decide to set this up, I'm gonna give you a couple options. You may or may not need to do little command lines, but you can install this for free from Docker, and they've got installation guides that walk you through it. Now, if you wanna leave this video now and say, oh, he gave the sauce, I can leave. No, you can't. It's not that easy. I wish it was. I thought it was. And I went through that whole process. I went on my server, I got Reacher, I got it on Docker. I'm like, cool, now I've got an email verification system. Let's get rocking and rolling. And by the way, just for reference, this is it running right now. It's actively running this N8N automation. It's already verified 120,000 items in the last 30 minutes or so that it's been running this. It's doing them 100 at a time, just rapidly verifying all the leads in my database. This is Reacher. This is what you're going to learn how to build. So let's get back to the installation. Now, the reason that you can't just load this up on your computer and start verifying emails is because this is a complex one that I had to learn the hard way. Most internet providers block something called port 25, which is used for email verification as well as email sending. So they block port 25. It's a specific web port. The technicalities of it are probably over my head. But because that's blocked, now that server can't do email verification. So now we've got to solve another problem. What server can we use that doesn't block port 25 or that allows you to unblock port 25? Because chances are, if your email providers like AT&T or Verizon, they might not let you use port 25, meaning you can't install this in one of your home systems. If you try and get a server from one of these common VPS companies, they're also probably going to block port 25, and the whole thing is useless. So I went on the hunt, and we were in search of a VPS provider, a server provider that I could rent server space at. Now there's tons of VPS providers. You might even have one. I've got several with a few different companies. Cloudways, Droplets, AWS, none of these will work. So this is the second piece of sauce that you're going to be getting that normally I would charge a lot of money for, but don't worry, I've got an upsell for you later. I'm just gonna give you the sauce. You need Reacher that you can download from Docker. And the second thing that you need is a server, a VPS, that lets you unblock port 25. So after all of my hunting, I was able to find one and get it to work. So what you're going to need is to use Hostcram. Hostcram.com is one of the only VPS providers that will let you unblock port 25. It's not the cheapest, but it's also definitely not the most expensive. This is where that 20 bucks comes in. So I'm gonna come to products. You're gonna want a VPC. That's a virtual machine. And then here are these cloud VPS. VPS and VPC, I think they mean the same thing. The one that I have is this middleweight. It's $20 per month. You can probably get away, depending on the volume of email verification that you're doing, because you really don't need that much processing power if it's just for you. Now, if you're trying to do something like this, where it's verifying hundreds of thousands of records per day, you might want to consider getting a more powerful server. That's why we got this to work on my home server, which I'll talk about later. But if it's just you and your team, you could probably get away with this $10 per month. And now you've got an unlimited email verifier for $10 a month. Absolutely insane. However, I just do the 20 a month, give it a little bit more power. It's an extra 10 bucks, who cares? There's gonna be a link to Hostcram down below too. I literally just found out they have an affiliate program, so I just signed up for the link. So if you feel like supporting, it does mean a lot. I don't even know how much they pay me, but you can sign up using that link. Once you're in here, you need to do one very important thing, because you can't just install Reacher and start going. You need to get them to unblock port 25. You need to literally reach out to their support. This is the first thing that I had to do. And you can copy and paste the template I'm going to give you from this installation guide. All you have to do is go down below and download it. I won't even ask for your email. And ask them to unblock port 25 to do some light email verification as part of your app. That's what we did. It took about less than 12 hours for them to do it and give confirmation that the port was unblocked. And then we were off to the races. Now all I have to do is follow the steps in my installation guide and get Reacher configured on this server the right way. Now there's a couple things that you're going to need to do to install Reacher the right way, because really the end game is that you have something that looks like this. You've got your domain and you've got an API call that you can do to Reacher and check email. And that's all this is that my automation is doing. It's checking the email really fast, one at a time, and giving me the results. So I can show you exactly what that looks like in my automation. So there's two ways to really use Reacher. There's not really a web interface like Million Verifier. You can build one really easily. I can show you how to do that. Here's basically the one that I've built for me and my team. And by the way, another really cool piece of sauce, single verify. Let's say I want to verify my email address, j@leadgenj.com. This is all working on Reacher. It verifies the email, tells me all of the stuff that I need to know about it. But if you've built an unlimited email verifier, that also means that you've built an unlimited email finder. So if I come into Email Finder, what this is doing is it's taking its best guess at what an email address should be. So if I just have J Feldman and otterpr.com, which is my PR agency, and I don't know my actual email address, this email finder is just trying the most common variations of that name until it finds the one that responds. They call it an SMTP handshake. So it's pinging the email address from those proxy IP addresses. If it gets a response, that's a handshake, it's a good email. So this is actually the first pattern it tried. Awesome. If you've built an email verifier, you've also built an email finder. And we can also do bulk upload from here as well. So I'll show you how to build an interface really easily once I'm done getting through the initial what to expect, how to actually set this thing up. So what my API is doing is just calling Reacher here. I'm not going to open it because it's going to expose my API key. But it is essentially this. It's nextwave.io reacher.nextwave.io.com. This is the API endpoint, and then it's just giving the email to test. All right, so my Google Doc's now blocking my API key. Now I can show you what the results look like. So it tells me, is it disposable? Is it a role account? A role account is like hello at, support at, contact at. Is it B2C? Is it a business email or a personal email? But most important, is it reachable? This is in fact safe. It's got the MX records on there, so it looks at that as part of the verification. SMTP can connect, yes. It's got some other stuff in here as well that's super important. Has full inbox, is catch-all, is deliverable. This is the software. This is the reacher end. This is why you can't just go build your own, because there's so many aspects to checking whether an email address is good or not. This is actually a really good email verification system. It doesn't just tell you good or not good. It tells you, is it a role account? Is it disposable? Is it B2B or B2C? So this is really good data used by the best of the best email verification systems. All right, so now you know that you need Reacher, you've got HostCram, they unblocked port 25. What do you do next? And this is where it gets a little bit tricky, especially if you're like me and you're not very technical. Luckily, with the help of AI, all we need to do is copy and paste some things. So in the document that you're going to be downloading, it's going to give you exactly the keys to copy and paste. So it's going to give you the step-by-step instructions, and then you're going to have to log in to your VPS. Now you can do this inside of their command center, or you can do something called SSH, which is when you automatically connect to a different server's command terminal and can control it from your computer. So let's talk about the easy way. So once you're in, let's go to Services, Control Panel. Here's my virtual machine. This is the one that I've been running for a long time. And then we can go to Manage. And from here, we're going to have some options. The console is the command center. This is where you actually talk directly to your computer. You can install things, you can give it commands, and some of these commands can look a little bit scary. By scary, I mean things like this. This is the install Docker command that looks like this. Copy these commands one at a time to install Docker the right way. And this is going to install not the Reacher Docker, but Docker itself, which is kind of like an app store for your computer. So you're going to come into this console, or you can SSH into it if you know how to, and then you'll go ahead and just talk to your console from here. As you can see, Verifier login. Right now, it's already inside of my Verifier. But you're just going to be able to give it the commands that I tell you. And if you run into any trouble, the best thing to do is just copy and paste or take a screenshot and put it over into ChatGPT. Give it this document of what you're trying to do. ChatGPT will completely understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish, and then just copy and paste the errors that you're getting. It'll tell you exactly what commands to use to fix it. And by the way, this is the hard way. The hard way is just use these commands, do it in the console, in your HostCram. Nobody can mess this up. It's literally the easiest thing on earth. They're going to unblock your port 25. You're going to open up your console. You're going to copy and paste the commands in the order that I give you. And if at any point it doesn't work, you just cut the error, give it to ChatGPT, it'll give you the right command. Bang, bang, boom, you've got an email verification system. Now, if you don't feel like pasting the commands one by one, which can get really annoying, especially when it comes into setting up the more complex part of this, which is as follows. So you've installed Docker, you follow these commands, you're checking that it actually worked, cool. Then you want to create the folder in Docker, cool. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because, to be honest, it's boring. This is more of the stuff that I do in my course. For YouTube, you're all just going to fall asleep on me. This is where the fun part begins. You actually need to create the file for Reacher. So same thing, you're just going to install Reacher here. And that's what this is. Now, ideally, you want to install it with your own specific API key so that no one else can access it, the domain, and the from email that you're going to be using. This is important because you want to access Reacher from your own unique API endpoint. So whatever your domain is, leadgenjverify.com, it'll be like reacher.leadgenjverify.com, and now I can just interact with this via API. So you're going to configure Reacher however you see fit with your domain. You're going to create this proxy file, which is how you're going to point your domain at Reacher, connect the two, and then point your DNS to your VPS. So you're going to add this A record in your Cloudflare or wherever you manage your domains, GoDaddy, wherever you bought your domain. That is where you're going to update the DNS record, and you're going to add this A record. Your VPS IP address, which you're going to get inside of HostCram. You're going to call it Reacher, and then it should be able to connect to Reacher. Again, just follow these instructions, copy and paste. If you run into trouble, bring it over to ChatGPT and it will help debug it. You can have this whole thing up in about 15 minutes. But then you're going to have to use the email verification system. Once you've confirmed that it works, the hard part's out of the way. Now you've got two ways to use it. The main way is going to be your API. So using these API calls to Reacher. And my favorite way to do it, of course, is inside of N8N. So that automation that I just showed you that's running all these verifications, it's doing it inside of N8N. So you can upload a Google Sheet to a form. It'll run through the Google Sheet and verify each email in the row, put it back into the Google Sheet, and then you can download that new verified Google Sheet. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to build something like this, a nice front end that's connected to Reacher. I built this in about a day. And the way that I did it is using Claude Code or Vibe Code. Once you have the backend API, the rest of it is really pretty easy. Now, as I start talking about Claude Code, building apps, building automations in N8N, these are skills that I think are gonna make this next generation either millionaires or completely broke. It's like the most high value skill that you can possibly learn right now. You can learn these two things, how to use Claude Code to build apps and how to build the backend with N8N, you're gonna be unstoppable. So if you wanna learn how to do that, I definitely recommend coming to school.com, AI Automation Insiders, or leadgenj.com/AIA. This is a free community. You can just join. You can chat with other members of the community. However, if you want to learn the really high value stuff using Claude Code to build apps step by step, if you want to learn how to build much more complicated automations and copy my templates like this one, then you might want to consider becoming a premium member of the AI Automation Insiders. And that is my upsell to you. Let's get back to how to actually build and scale this thing. So up to this point, I showed you how to install Reacher, the right VPS system to install it on, exactly how to install it. However, that really only gets you up to about 10,000 verifications per day. Now, what if you wanted to build an email verification system that got you way further than that? Hundreds of thousands of email verifications per day. Well, it's completely possible. In fact, I did the exact same thing, and I'm going to show you how I did it and what you need to do if you want to do that same thing. There's a few limiting factors that you're going to have to get past. The first big limiting factor is servers. So verifying all that emails takes a lot of RAM, takes a lot of server capacity, and the HostCram $20 per month plan is just not going to cut it at that kind of volume. You're going to want to upgrade either your VPS to a much heavier weight VPS like this monster weight one here to handle a much higher volume, or you can do what I did and just build yourself a supercomputer inside your home, assuming that you can get port 25 unblocked. Now, I don't remember who my internet provider is, but we did have to talk to them and get them to manually unblock port 25. I believe we also used like the Amazon routers, and that helped too. But we did have to kind of go through a little bit of a battle to do it at home. So if you wanted to build your own email verification system, I might recommend just getting like the HostCram monster weight. And this will probably get you most of the way there. It's only $40 per month too. My server was like 10 grand. So I would definitely recommend upgrading your server capacity. The next two things that you need to get past are Reacher. So there's not a huge difference between the community version that you self-host and the unlimited commercial license that I am now a subscriber to. The biggest difference is that you can do bulk uploads. So let's talk about bulk email verifications and what you need here. So now I can do uploads in bulk, which is actually not even what this is doing. This is still verifying them one at a time. So the real reason for upgrading to the commercial license is to get past that 10,000 email verifications per day. This free self-hosted one that gives you 10,000 email verifications per day, it does it because they give you a free proxy that does it. So one of the big limiting factors in email verification is you're pinging all of these email addresses and they're responding. However, the email service providers that you're pinging get suspicious after a decent amount of these things, and they can block the IP address that's pinging them. Therefore, you need a really good proxy provider to rotate through good, high-quality proxies that are doing these verifications for you at scale. That's the real reason why it's limited to 10,000 and it's not just fully unlimited. Is if you were doing this from your like home IP address or from HostCram's IP address, they would get blocked probably within days, and because you can't just replace those IP addresses, now your email verification service is dead. So one of the greatest things about Reacher is it rotates through IP addresses using proxy providers. So when I upgraded, I actually got, I think it's through Proxy 25, and they work hand in hand now. So when I upgraded, Proxy 25 gave me a login credential for Proxy 25. I put it into my Reacher, and from there, I was able to start verifying hundreds of thousands per day. I believe now it supports up to 250,000 per day, just for the same cost as this 700 euro per month verification plan, which is about 750 USD. Now, I know that's not cheap, and it really only makes sense if you're doing really high volume email verification. For me, I'm trying to keep a database of tens of millions of leads clean at all times, as well as doing verification of all new leads. And just we do a lot of email verification, and I also plan on making this a paid service once it gets really, really good. So hopefully you'll be paying me for email verification one day soon. So if you did want to scale this up, you are going to have to probably take this cost. The main two reasons for it are you get to unlock a lot of the bulk verifications, and you get the proxies. So you're able to do a lot more than a 10,000 per day. However, for like personal use, if you're just using this for your own campaigns, the 10,000 per day is a ton. That's what, 300,000 a month? That is a lot of leads that are coming through a single person's campaign. So this is more than enough to probably suit most of your use cases for email verification. Now, I also wanted to leave you with a little bit of a hack, especially if you're using Claude Code. Instead of going through all of the steps that I outlined you, the commands that you're gonna paste into your VPS to try and get this thing loaded, if you wanna make it really easy, all you have to do is Claude Code Quick Start, is use Claude Code, and it will literally install Reacher for you, configure it for you, test it for you. And all you have to do is load up Claude Code, tell Claude what you want it to do, and it will literally do everything else, from configuring the proxies to loading up and testing it to helping you with your domains. It's just putting AI into the server so it can make sure everything is set up correctly. Now, when I did this on my server, I didn't have Claude Code. Knowing what I know now, it would make life so much easier. Now, because I'm not technical, when I upgraded to this commercial license, I had to install the new proxy rotation system with my new username credentials. I had to configure this new API endpoint so I can do bulk verification. I didn't really know how to do any of that, and there was way less documentation on it. I literally just told Claude Code to go do this, and it did it for me. Granted, it did a little bit of testing. It wasn't perfect right away, but it was way easier than doing the commands, sending screenshots. It's just way more effective. So if you haven't already started learning Claude Code, or you want to, make sure to join the AI Automation Insiders. I teach everything that I know about Claude Code, and I'm still learning a lot every day. Make sure to join this program. All right, and that is all the sauce that I'm going to leave you with today. If you found this helpful and you appreciate me just giving you this super high value information that took me years to learn and could probably sell for thousands of dollars, drop a like and let me know in the comments if this stuff is helpful, if you were able to implement it correctly, or ask me any questions that you're curious about. And please, if you're interested in leveling up your skill set in 2026, there's no more high value skill in the world right now than learning N8N and learning Claude Code. So get inside the AI Automation Insiders, and you're going to learn how to build email verification systems, lead databases, use N8N, use Claude Code. Get in there now before it's too late. The price is going up every single month. This is Lead Gen J. Make sure you're subscribed unless you hate money, and I'll see you in the next video.